you watch, that's why today in Finland, today in Moscow, today even in Britain, in France, and as I'm talking to you, serious protest, serious rally is going on in Tel Aviv for the freedom of Nnamdi Kanu. A man who has no offense, who did not offend anybody, who never kill, who never commit any crime, but because he's fighting for the freedom of his people to engage in the war. And as at that time, the mistake Ojukwu made was not to include the foreign, yes, into the game. And that was the period that these people today call Israel. As at that time, that particular year, 1967, they themselves were facing war. They were facing 7 countries into war. You understand? Which the intention was that if they can, it can be easy for them so that they can come back and help their brothers in Africa. Who are those their brothers? The today Biafra. Are you getting it? They would have supported, but the fight they are facing was, and they have to defend their territory.
That Ekpa documents to bring Ekpa down have been completed. We see what happened to Wazirike, we see what happened to Ojukwu in the time past, and they said in 1967 they supported Ojukwu, and this time around we saw massive protests there in Tel Aviv, Israel, as regards this issue. Do you think that with this Ekpa and nnamdikanu have hope as regards what we saw today?
Yeah, my good afternoon, good morning, good evening, and good night, wherever you are watching us from. I remember humble self, that Biafra evangelist that always speaks the truth, and I will continue to speak to the truth till the kingdom come, till arrest to in peace. Now listen and listen good. Heavy protest in Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv was the former capital of Israel. Former. But currently now, it is now Jerusalem. Now listen and listen good. The people protesting is not only the Biafrans, but the Jewish, because they have come to realize that we are the black Jewish while they are the yellow Jewish. But we all are Jewish, focusing and following and serving one God. Are you getting it? See, that's why you see this heavy protest. And let me tell you, the man in the custody of Nigeria is a Jewish to the core. I'm talking about Nnamdi Kanu, our leader. Are you getting it? He's a Jewish to the core. And let me tell you, and that's some months ago, some Jewish came to Nigeria to visit him. And before he was granted bail, which the Nigeria accused him of jumping bail, the Jewish visited Nigeria. You understand? He's a Jewish to the core. I mean, Nnamdi Kanu. And let me tell you this, and even up to tomorrow, he's still practicing it, even in the DSS. Then no. Now, listen. In 1967, you are like throwing me back. Let me give you a brief. After the coup d'etat, 1965, January 15, that claimed many lives of Nigerian strong men. Then the first unitary government came up in person of Aguiyi. He came to unite Nigeria. And he died in Ibadan, in one of the local area in Ibadan. He was murdered there. And he remained the only 7 months president ever in this country called Nigeria. 7 months. Now, after this, before, I'm telling you this history before the war. Now come to the war that triggered 1967, when Ojukwu was the governor of the Eastern region. So, in 1967, there was a massive killing of the Biafrans in the north, and which repeated itself in the year 2000 and 2001. Are you getting it? The massive killing of the Biafrans in the north. And on that note, triggers Ojukwu to give them warning. And another thing that triggers the war again was Aguiyi in his tenure promoted 21 soldiers. 19 were only Igbos, 1 Yoruba and 1 Hausa. Are you getting it? But the rest 19 were all Igbos, the Biafrans. You see where the Fulanis, they triggered and they started their killing after killing Aguiyi. You understand? And Ojukwu rose up and decided to go Biafra. They want to stand on his own. They started visiting court, Ghana, I think, what is it called? Kenya or whatsoever, and different places. According to the history, which at the end of the day, Ojukwu diplomatically conquered Gowon, because it was not Gowon that's supposed to be the president. Ojukwu senior Gowon in the military. And Ojukwu defeated Gowon diplomatically. It was Ojukwu that freed Awolowo from Calabar prison with the intention of declare Oduduwa and declare Biafra. You get it? As at that time, Lagos was the capital of Nigeria. And Gowon was residing here in Lagos. Let me tell you, Gowon admitted, though. Gowon admitted what? The defeat of Ojukwu in the court. It was right there, Lagos here, thinking about there, that he was convinced by the Yorubas, elders. If you listen to Gowon recently, he said there was a time he said that he was convinced, you understand, that people deceive him. Some elder, listen to his comment, that was last year, towards the end of last year, he made that statement. God bless you. You understand me? So when they now finally eventually engage in the war, which is regretting till tomorrow, even to his grave, you understand me? He's regretting for that action. Now, so Ojukwu decided to engage in the war. And as at that time, the mistake Ojukwu made was not to include the foreign, yes, into the game. And that was the period that these people today call Israel. As at that time, that particular year, 1967, they themselves were facing war. They were facing 7 countries into war. You understand? Which the intention was that if they can, it can be easy for them so that they can come back and help their brothers in Africa. Who are those their brothers? The today Biafra. Are you getting it? They would have supported, but the fight they are facing was, and they have to defend their territory. You understand me? So that was what actually played. And let me tell you this. Ojukwu, Biafra did not lose the battle. The people that we conquer Nigeria, the people that fight the Biafrans, we are the UK, the NATO. Are you hearing me? NATO government, NATO union, of which it was only France. As at that, it was only France that tried to give support. You understand? That tried to give support to Biafra. When they discover that this is NATO, they cannot, they withdraw. They are using Cameroon. And I will now come and tell Nigeria that they should go to Cameroon. Just as the game that CDS Musa is playing now, that they should pass through Cameroon to block food, because there is no way you will defeat these people. So far they are eating. You understand me? So they passed through Cameroon. And how do we stop them in Cameroon? That was what lead to Bakassi Peninsula problem that is going on today. Nigeria now hand over that place to Cameroon. And if you can remember vividly, it was in Obasanjo tenure that that place was given to them. You remember? It was in Obasanjo tenure. Okay, that it was given to them. That was Obasanjo's second tenure. Second tenure. Then this former governor of Enugu State was the Senate president as at that time. You get it? So what you are seeing today is what would have played many years ago. But I am happy that it's coming to play in our time now. That nobody will tell us, we will be the living witness of it. You understand me? So see, there's Musa saying they have concluded everything to Finland in order to repatriate Simon Ekpa down to Nigeria. Is making a mistake. Did the Musa and Nigeria have a good relationship, a good rapport with Finland? That is the question. Listen, ever since Nnamdi Kanu have been in the custody, the UN has given Nigeria order to free Nnamdi Kanu. Nigeria ignored it. A Nigerian court of law here, Nnamdi Kanu has been set free, discharged, and have been acquitted. Did the Nigeria obey? They ignore it. So this is a country that don't recognize human rights and they don't respect the rule of law. You see where they stand to lose it. Because Finland is a country that recognizes the UN law, civil rights, human civil rights. You understand? They value lives and they value the law. And they themselves have their own law too. So see, there's Musa is making a mistake by saying that they have submitted everything. What did you have to submit? Even before they submit, Simon Ekpa have already submitted more than that. You understand me? He has submitted some more than that, and the Finland government will not play a fool as foolish as that. Because the man in quote you are talking about is not even a Nigerian citizen, as I'm talking to you. He's not a Nigerian citizen. He's a Finland citizen. And where he is, or where he was when you say he committed a crime, was not here in Nigeria, but in Finland. Why not the Finnish government try him? So why are you now pushing? You want to bring, on what ground did you have? That means Nigeria did not actually understand the constitution of human rights, the rule of law that plays in terms of human rights. That means Nigeria did not actually understand. Let them did not actually study UN law, the rules and regulations that guide the nations under UN. I know that some in Nigeria presently now, just as Netanyahu said one certain time, things about the UN that they are now becoming too political instead of being the way they are meant to be or they are supposed to be. You understand? But nevertheless, constitution is constitution. The law still stands. You get it? And if you watch, that's why today in Finland, today in Moscow, today even in Britain, in France, and as I'm talking to you, serious protest, serious rally is going on in Tel Aviv for the freedom of Nnamdi Kanu. A man who has no offense, who did not offend anybody, who never kill, who never commit any crime, but because he's fighting for the freedom of his people, Nigeria kidnapped him. And let me tell you this. Kidnap is a terrorist act. In case you don't know, it's a terrorism act.
But when Nigeria admit that they kidnapped,
Excuse me. He charged Nigeria. Remember what he said in September 24 in the Federal High Court. He said something. Nobody in this country have right to do what? To judge him. He said anybody that does that must be a terrorist. That if Nigeria should judge him, then Nigeria should take the matter. Let them go to ICC. And which I know that nobody in Nigeria were to go to ICC. You that cannot defeat him in this country, is it in ICC you go and withstand him? He's higher learned. I don't want to say more learned. He is higher learned than Nigeria as a country. Like I was saying, is man with, sorry if I may use this word, I don't see any of his class currently now in Nigeria. Any of Mazen Nnamdi class currently now in this country called Nigeria.
So the professors and the professors in Nigeria that you say they are.
Nigerian professor, they are only good in speaking English. Are you getting it? They can only speak English and plant flower. You understand me? Beside that, nothing. You just carry portfolio, walk up and down, nothing. Tell me how many professors in Nigeria, Ondo, I believe, Ondo State, they are the one that produce highest professor in Nigeria. But go to Ondo, all those professors, that their education, what has he played? Which impact has he given to Ondo State? Not to talk of Nigeria as a nation. Tell me, let them show up. Mazen Nnamdi Kanu has gone beyond Nigerian professors. His own level is higher, not on that category, not on that grade. I say whenever he appears in the court, it's like it's a one-man squad. He will tell the lawyer, this is what the constitution, your constitution said. This is what the constitution said. This is what the lawyer, you cannot go this way. You're not supposed to, because you are equally going against the constitution of the land. And when it comes to me, that is, I'm talking about Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. If he now want to refer to himself, he will quote Nigerian constitution to defend himself. And he quotes a UN constitution to now back it up, to prove to you and I that he have right for what he's doing. And he have called Nigeria time without number. Let's go to ICC. Go and show your talent, showcase your talent from it. So we are waiting, and I thank God for what is going on. And we have entered 2025. Glory be to God. Let's see what this year will bring in this matter.
But as regards Israel now backing, although they say they've always backed, the Biafra cause.
They have always, remember there was a time, even before now, they made one statement under this present government, Netanyahu. He said if any foreign country put their hand in this Biafra issue, that they themselves will come. That means they are trying to tell you they are watching. They are watching. They never turn their back against Biafra, but they are still watching, waiting for what we sub. Then based on what we sub, we warrant them or may not warrant them involving themselves fully. But any country that feel they can do anyhow against Biafra, they should wait and see. Because this time around, the current Biafran is not the former Biafra. Now both international bodies are involved, local here are involved. So if Nigeria believe that they can play the game as usual, when they invite any foreign country will begin to come. You understand? It will become foreign country affair.
But now, do you not believe there's massive hope for Nnamdi Kanu and Ekpa?
If there is another word to use, higher than massive, I will say yes. We have entered the year 2025. The year many things will play.
But we said, Nnamdi Kanu might be released before the end of this last year. But it was the same also. Do you think this year will bring positive?
I told you one thing. Before I go ahead, there is something Mazen Nnamdi Kanu said. He said, I have spent 4 years. He said the 5th year will not kill him. So, in other words, there is every tendency that hope will begin this year, today, being the 1st of 2025. So, hope begins today. Hope stands today. You understand? That is why I use the word. Let's see what this year will bring.
This year?
Yes, 2025. A stand Biafra freedom. Mazen Nnamdi Kanu freedom. Start today. First. His freedom start today. That's why I told you last year, whenever you say you come up asking me, boys, on what is going on, I say I don't believe, I don't like saying yes over those flying news. You understand? I'm a man of, I believe in practical. You understand? Seeing is believing. I don't believe that he could be released any before so that will release before 31st or before 25 or whatsoever. The issue remains, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is not going to die in Nigerian DSS. And he will never die. And he must not die. You. He must not. He mustn't die there. He will come alive and stand and hold the flag. That Biafra. Because that will be my prayer. Nothing must happen to him. And that's just it.
But I told you about, talked about one Cameroonian prophet that said Nnamdi Kanu, he saw him in the sky waving, giving a sign of goodbye.
You know, when God reveals something, another thing is understanding. It could be in the sky waving goodbye. It could be on airplane holding my Biafran flag, waving goodbye to Nigeria. You understand? You know, such thing, if you don't really understand, you may misinterpret it. And I know that many of you will be saying it that that prophecy is a prophecy of death. Me, I am giving the prophecy that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu will not die. And he can never die. But he will be on air waving that flag, Biafra. Finally, I made it. That will be his last statement. Finally. See, there is one thing he said. I want to remind you again. He said, I will end the suffering of my people. The suffering of people will end in me. And I will be the end of Nigeria. I want to remind you again, in case you forget.